Tanse, I'm Krisanachkate. Welcome to APTN National News. The Ontario Provincial Police and Six Nations Police Service say they've shut down a contraband tobacco processing facility and seized millions of contraband cigarettes, drugs, and guns. The OPP began Project Panda in February to support Six Nations Police Service. The OPP says the investigation involved a facility operated by members of a non-Indigenous criminal organization. However, in a follow-up email, the OPP tells APTN News that no charges have been laid. Initial search warrants were executed in March on vehicles leaving the facility on Six Nations of the Grand River Territory, which led to the seizure of more than 11 million cigarettes with an estimated street value of $2.8 million. On May 7th, 3 more search warrants were executed in Ancaster, Brantford, and Six Nations. Officers then seized 25,000 kilograms of contraband tobacco with an estimated street value of $6.29 million and 1,300 pounds of illegal cannabis worth $3 million. 15 firearms and 3 kilograms of magic mushrooms were also seized. The OPP says the investigation is ongoing. As a precaution, people with high-risk health conditions are being evacuated this Saturday from the Pimchikamac Cree Nation in northern Manitoba, as multiple fire crews have been fighting a wildfire there. So far, it's been cooperating, however, tensions remain high. On Thursday evening, Pimchikamac Cree Nation Chief David Monias said the wildfire situation continues to evolve rapidly. More resources are going towards fighting the fire, and emergency response teams are working around the clock assessing the risks and safety measures. The chief says so far the wildfire is moving away from Pimchikamac, but the wind direction is expected to change over the weekend and blow heavy smoke into the community, which is why the evacuations of high-risk people is taking place on Saturday. Sprinkler systems to protect important infrastructure are also being installed. The chief is working closely with Indigenous Services Canada, the Red Cross, and the Emergency Measures Organization. Pimchikamac is located about 530 kilometers north of Winnipeg. In a statement posted to social media, Chief David Monias added, "A helicopter is being used to monitor the fire and support our firefighters on the ground. We ask that community members refrain from posting unofficial updates. Instead, please share only the official updates that we provide. Misinformation can cause unnecessary panic or false reassurance, and your cooperation is vital in keeping everyone safe and informed." The average number of wildfires in Manitoba is around 35. However, 59 wildfires have already been reported this year. The Manitoba Museum in Winnipeg has issued a formal apology to various First Nations, Métis, and Inuit groups for keeping ancestral remains as part of its collections. The museum's CEO offered the apology during a private ceremony to representatives from several groups, including the Southern Chiefs Organization, the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs, and the National Centre for Truth and Reconciliation. The museum says it was never right, but it was the practice of museums to accept human remains for many decades. It's now pledged to no longer accept ancestral remains.
This is an enormous historic injustice. This is a tremendous harm that will continue and be perpetuated into the future if we do not correct this historic wrong. There should never be human remains within a museum.
The apology is part of a wider reconciliation effort by the museum, which also involves identifying all the remains and other items and eventually repatriating them to the proper communities. Matey Nation Saskatchewan, or MNS, is holding their election this coming weekend. And APTN video journalist Rachel May spoke with the candidates who are running for vice president.
Because there's a number of things that I think that we need to get done that we didn't complete the first time.
Incumbent Vice President Michelle Leclerc is seeking re-election. She says much has been achieved in the past 4 years, including progress on self-government and residential school compensation. Leclerc hopes to keep advancing these issues while tackling daily challenges faced by Métis people.
Well, I think a big priority is taking care of our families. Mental health and addictions services. We have lost so many young people in the last 6 months, a year, to suicide.
Candidate Jason McKay also lists mental health and addictions as a top priority, citing Saskatchewan's ongoing opioid epidemic.
Support the government and have a treatment facility at Batoche, a 50-bed treatment facility there, and be able to offer treatment to our people through a Métis lens, led by Métis elders.
McKay's priorities include housing, self-government, and education to help young Métis learn traditional skills like trapping. He says he's the best candidate because he plans to stay actively engaged with citizens across the province.
If elected, I plan to work hard. I don't plan to sit behind a desk and pretend to know everything. I still want to get out there and see citizens and listen to them.
The final candidate for Vice President, Karen Larocque, says her focus is on strengthening Métis locals, ensuring citizens' voices are heard, promoting accountability, and making sure no one is left behind.
We have to do an audit of the MNS prior to us getting into anything. One of the things that I would absolutely like to see happen is a benefits piece for our citizens.
Larocque says she's attended Matey Nation local meetings since childhood and hopes to reinstate annual general meetings with citizens after Matey Nation legislative assemblies. She says she wants to honor Métis ancestors who hope to see Métis people succeed.
They had a vision for us as a nation, and they had a legacy that they wanted to leave for our youth and future generations, and that's what spurns me.
Métis citizens can vote at local polls on Saturday, May 24th from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. For a full list of poll locations, visit mnselections.ca. Rachel May, APTN National News, Saskatoon.
Staying in Saskatchewan, concerns over a separatist group have sparked the NDP to question why the Sask Party hasn't denounced their attempts to follow in Alberta's footsteps. The group has several town halls scheduled across the province, which the NDP say shouldn't be happening. All town halls are organized by grassroots groups, not the Sask Party, but the NDP says the Sask Party's refusal to put a stop to them hurts investment opportunities, strains the economy, and harms relations with Indigenous people. The NDP proposed a bill to raise the separation vote petition threshold from 15% to 30% of all eligible voters, but the Sask Party blocked it. Leroy LaLiberty, MLA for Athabasca in northwest Saskatchewan, says the Sask Party should listen to First Nations, not separatists.
This NDP caucus has definitely been respectful to our treaties, treaties that were signed between the First Nations and the ground. Been very respectful in going into the communities, and for some that been listening firsthand to the constituents that represent. And it's it's about us developing these relationships and holding this government accountable to these types of things. I'd recommend that, Premier Moe stand up. It's his responsibility, and the Sask Party government to denounce these groups that are talking about separatism.
Meanwhile, the Federation of Sovereign Indigenous Nations said earlier this month that any separatist movement that ignores treaty rights violates constitutional and international law, as treaties were made with the Crown, not the province. 2 First Nations in British Columbia are celebrating this week after 312 hectares of land worth about $8.6 million was given back to them. The land is located near Scotts Falls on Vancouver Island, a few kilometers from Lake Cowichan. It will be given back to the Liaxin and Cowichan tribes. The area was used for harvesting food, and there is an old village site there as well. The BC government bought the land from Mosaic Forest Management, something Liaxin Hereditary Chief Shana Thomas said would not be possible if the company wasn't willing to sell. The First Nations are now planning how to distribute the land. Migma fishermen and PEI are pushing back on the recent DFO seizure of their lobster traps. That story when we come back. Stay with us. Welcome back. Tensions are high between a Migma Nation in Prince Edward Island and the Department of Fisheries and Oceans after fisheries officers seized lobster traps on Sunday. APTN's Angel Moore reports.
Jonah Kilbride is trying to retrieve his lobster traps at the Alberton Wharf from DFO officers. Kilbride was fishing to earn a moderate livelihood.
That is, those have been seized for illegal fishing. It is not illegal fishing. We have the right to fish.
Kilbride said he was arrested for obstruction, and this video shows a fisheries officer reading Kilbride his rights.
They told me I was under arrest for obstruction of evidence involved in an investigation. Although there shouldn't be an investigation. They're stealing from us. If anybody should be investigated, it's them.
Fisheries officers seized 300 treaty traps on Sunday. The traps have since been replaced by the band. Chief Darlene Bernard says DFO's actions are illegal. She is demanding the traps are returned and is preparing to take the Department of Fisheries to court.
We're being harmed by DFO here. When we were going about our business, like we did last year, and nothing was changing. So I don't know why they think that they can just bully us and think that they can take illegal action against this First Nation. They picked the wrong one. I'm not going to be bullied by DFO.
Bernard says she will help any fisherman who is charged.
Okay, well, we'll be defending those charges for sure. Yeah. So I am behind the fishermen 100%. They're out there under our direction, so we will certainly support them in any of those charges, and we'll defend them in court.
Lennox Island launched their own management plan without incident 4 years ago. Last year, the band issued 1,500 traps, but this year, DFO limited the number of traps to 1,000. Bernard says the treaty fishery is not subject to DFO's rules.
DFO sends a letter saying that here we're only going to authorize 1,000 traps, and again I said fine, you can write whatever document you want. It's got really nothing to do with us. We gave you our documents because this is a self-regulated treaty protected fishery. You don't get to negotiate this, you don't get to control this.
Bernard hopes to rebuild the relationship with the Department of Fisheries, but will continue to protect the community.
Well, we're always going to treaty fish now. Those 15 traps are not going anywhere. They're going to stay there. That's our symbolic little treaty protected fishery.
DFO did not respond to an interview request by Deadline. Angel Moore, APTN National News, Lennox Island, Migma Nation.
The Winnipeg Art Gallery Comoyork newest exhibition will bring over 100 works by Inuk artists Abraham Engik Rubin under one roof. APTN Sierra Bettens toured the gallery with the artist to learn more about his life and beautiful artwork.
Here at the Winnipeg Art Gallery Comoyork Kilak Gallery, 5 decades of work by Inuk artist Abraham Engik Rubin is on display. The 73-year-old artist is known for blending elements of Norse and Inuit mythology. Today, we get a glimpse of the stories he's carved over 50 years. We start at a marble sculpture depicting the Norse god, Odin.
The basic idea of this stone is to portray Odin, the Viking Norse god Odin, as a seeker of wisdom. He would change into different forms of birds, animals, and humans to look at the world through their eyes.
We continue to his soapstone carving, titled Danish Shaman, Through the Mist of Time.
And the original image was taken from a pictograph from a cave in northern Denmark of a small little hawk man, a man transforming into a hawk. When the shaman goes into a trance, it's no different if the shaman is Inuit, someone from South America, a Viking shaman. The areas where they go, the architecture is the same. The language is the same.
In the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic, Engik Rubin traded his carving knife for a paintbrush. This piece is an ode to Iceland.
I decided that a song for Iceland would be appropriate to celebrate their cultural achievements, artistic achievements, and they were able to survive against all odds.
At 8 years old, Engik Rubin was sent to a residential school for 11 years, losing his culture, language, and community ties. Here, a trio of sculptures tell stories of displacement and disconnection in the North.
You have a mother holding a young child who's screaming. He's being sent off to residential school. And she is grasping for, trying to hold on traditions. Got a hand over her husband, who's singing, he's a shaman who's singing songs.
The land has always been at the heart of Agik Rubin's work, but over the years, climate change has become a central theme.
This is at a point when the Vikings and Inuit, about 800 years ago, were in the throes of in the middle of a major climatic shift. We see here with the sculpture, it's coming to us with double the force, because now it's widespread, it's worldwide. But in my home area, we have whole areas where the permafrost is collapsing, sliding off into the sea in some areas. So that is interrupting our passage to our hunting grounds. I think we're at a point where we have to look deep into the past and gain from what our ancestors did to survive, because we're going to need it.
A reception for the exhibition takes place Friday evening at the Winnipeg Art Gallery. It opens to the public on May 24th. Sierra Bettens, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
Great story, Sierra. We now want to tell you about this week's third web poll question. Over on our website, we ask, are you rooting for the Edmonton Oilers now that they're the last Canadian team standing? You can answer yes, no, or I don't watch hockey. Log into aptnnews.ca/polls to have your say. Battle of Beads, an event that is part of this year's Calgary Stampede, is just around the corner. We'll speak to one of the organizers when we come back. Starting on the east, Charlottetown 5 and rain, Halifax sunny and 6. Sunny in Cartwright at 16, partly cloudy in the Grand River and 14. Saskatchewan sun in 12, rain in Quebec City at 8. 11 in Toronto, partly cloudy, Peterborough rain in 9. Sunny in Sudbury at 9, partly cloudy and Sioux Lookout in 10. God's Lake 12 and sun, Thompson 15. Sunny in Gimli at 11, Winnipeg sun in 14. 16 in Regina, Saskatoon 14. 14 in Meadow Lake, La Ronge 13. Showers in Peace River at 25, Fort McMurray rain in there as well 25. Sunny in Lethbridge at 22, sun in Calgary 22. Partly cloudy in Vancouver at 17, Penticton showers in 24. Rain in Prince George 15, Dease Lake 12. Watson Lake 13, Mayo rain in 14. Fort Simpson 20, Watee 15. 5 in Fort McPherson, Inuvik 8. 6 in Whale Cove, Chesterfield 7. And Arctic Bay 1, Aglulik 1 as well. This year at the Calgary Stampede, organizers are hosting a special event called Battle of the Beads Contest on July 4th. The competition includes 4 categories, and beading artists can submit their work, and if chosen, each artist will have bragging rights for the year in being the best beaders in Turtle Island, along with prizes and a feature in Indigenous media. Artists can also get a chance to network with other top Indigenous designers and artists. Jose Lopez is one of the organizers of the event. We recently spoke to Jose from Calgary. Here's that interview. Jose Lopez, thank you so much for joining us. For those who don't know, can you tell us what Battle of the Beads is and when and where it's happening?
Yes, absolutely. So my name is Jose Lopez. I am the executive producer for Finest Feathers, and Battle of the Beads is a unique showcase and contest that we have created for our Indigenous beadwork artists. And as we're curating this Indigenous fashion show, we wanted to up the ante and include and really celebrate our beadwork artists. So it's going to be taking place at the TELUS Convention Center in Calgary on July 4th. And yes, got a lot of good submissions, but we're looking to add some more if some people are wanting to be included still.
And the deadline for bead artists to sign up for that event is quickly approaching, like you said. Tell us when the deadline is again, and what do bead artists who are entering need to know about the competition?
Yes, exactly. So we do have a deadline set for June 1st for any additional contestants that want to be added in. And how it works is we have a small entry fee of $100 that goes into a pot and it gets accumulated. And as the audience shows up for the fashion show, they're also able to vote for phenomenal beadwork artists, as we have a couple different categories. And after the end of the fashion show, we will have the tallies totaled, and we'll be able to give cash prizes to these artists that have won this contest.
And the beading artists who submit their work for the 4 categories listed, what do they get if they win and are chosen? You talked about it a little bit there.
Yes, so as we have this entry fee, it all gets accumulated into a pot. And so really based on how many submissions that we have, it isn't a promised set amount. It is cash prizes and also recognition on this global stage, as we really are strengthening and building bridges beyond borders.
Oh, that's great. And can you briefly talk about the craftsmanship and designs you saw in last year's competition? Were you blown away last year?
Yes, absolutely. As we've really been curating these for the last couple years, every year it's getting better and bigger, and really truly creating this platform to celebrate our Indigenous artists within our communities, meeting them right where they're at. You know, as tribal communities, whether it's struggling in self-confidence or that self-belief that we could be anything that we set our mind to, we really try to emphasize and motivate individuals to take things to the next level, because we truly are one of a kind, and it's time that we remember that. And every year we're definitely seeing new and innovative creations, and it's beautiful to be able to support that within our communities and help take them to that next level. So yeah, every year it's definitely a phenomenal experience.
You said this already, Jose, but finally, how can beading artists sign up for this competition?
Yes, so we are still taking submissions on finestfeathers.com. You'll be able to go to our website and you'll see contest and you'll see a registration. Go ahead and fill out that form, and our team will contact you with more information on how we could get you involved with this contest.
And like you said, the deadline is just around the corner, so anyone who's interested, definitely sign up, hey?
Yes, absolutely.
Jose Lopez, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you for your time, and we wish you all the best with your event at this year's Calgary Stampede.
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Yahui.
Ole, Jose. It looks like a great event. We'll definitely be able to cover that. That's your daytime newscast for this Friday. Dennis Ward is back for your evening newscast in a few hours. Please join us then. We'll be back here, same time, same place next Monday. From all of us at APTN National News, thank you for watching and have a safe weekend. Excellent.